Making headlines this hour, President hails this year's Hajj season as the most convenient and enhanced travel experience for Maldivian pilgrims in its history. President shares a plan to develop an environmentally friendly by renewable energy with the Singapore envoy. Finance Minister Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maroof. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu hails this year's Hajj season as the most convenient and enhanced travel experience for Maldivian pilgrims in its history. President Dr. Muizzu made these remarks on his social media platforms after the first group of pilgrims from the Maldives arrived in Saudi Arabia under the Makkah Route Initiative.
As part of the Pilgrim Experience program of Saudi Vision 2030, this initiative allows Maldivian pilgrims to proceed directly to their accommodations upon arrival in Saudi Arabia, thereby significantly enhancing their travel experience. The president said that unlike previous years, Maldivian pilgrims would not have to wait for long to clear immigration and baggage at the Saudi airport. He said such arrangements and facilities provided under this initiative, this year's Hajj will improve the quality of services provided to all Maldivian pilgrims in Saudi Arabia. The president in his post expressed hope that the services would be even better in the future while thanking the Saudi government for their excellent arrangements afforded to Maldivian pilgrims. President Dr. Muizz and First Lady Sajida Mohammed had officially inaugurated the Makkah Route Initiative for Maldives Hajj pilgrims on May 26th. This special initiative, launched under the leadership of King Salman bin Abdul Aziz and Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is designed to streamline travel and immigration procedures for pilgrims, providing a smoother and more convenient Hajj experience from the point of departure. According to the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, the inclusion of the Maldives in the Makkah Route Initiative reflects the strong and growing bilateral ties between Saudi Arabia and the Maldives. It also marks a significant milestone achieved under the leadership of President Dr. Muizz, further strengthening the nation's Islamic and diplomatic engagements.
President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu shares a plan to develop an environmentally friendly city powered by renewable energy with the non-resident High Commissioner of Singapore to the Maldives. The plan was shared when Su Kong Leng, the non-resident High Commissioner of Singapore, paid a courtesy call on President. According to the President's office, during the meeting, President Dr. Muizzu and the High Commissioner engaged in a constructive discussion on enhancing cooperation across a range of sectors, including higher education, healthcare and tourism, while also exploring additional avenues for collaboration. The President expressed interest in encouraging investment in trade, the economy and housing. The President's office said he emphasized the need for technical support in the housing sector and outlined plans to develop an environmentally friendly city powered by renewable energy. It added that the President and the High Commissioner concluded the meeting, reaffirming their countries' shared commitment to strengthening diplomatic relations and deepening strategic cooperation on matters of mutual interest. Minister of Finance and Planning Musa Zamir has stated that the Maldives tax system has made significant progress through collaboration with international institutions. The minister made the remarks while speaking at the 8th Asia Initiative Forum on Transparent Tax Systems, organized by the Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, MIRA. Speaking at the meeting, the finance minister stressed the importance of capacity building, collaboration and inclusive dialogue as a member of the Global Forum. He expressed confidence that sustainable progress could be achieved through teamwork and strong leadership in facing the challenges ahead. Minister Zamir also discussed strategies that can strengthen the Maldives' economy at a time when countries are reshaping their economic policies in view of the global economic situation. Noting that the Maldives' economy is based on tourism, Minister Zamir said the Maldives made a strong recovery following the global COVID-19 pandemic. He noted that the tourism industry accounted for 13.8% of GDP last year, with a record 2 million tourists visiting the Maldives. According to Minister Zamir, the Ministry of Finance and Planning has formulated a medium-term revenue strategy in collaboration with revenue administration agencies. The strategy aims to strengthen existing revenue policies, increase domestic revenue, and reduce reliance on foreign debt, he explained. With the advancement of digital technology and the financial flows on the world, international cooperation is critical, Zamir noted. He underscored that information sharing is vital in preventing tax evasion and illegal financial flows. During the forum, the minister launched the third issue of the Tax Transparency in Asia report. Maldivian ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Ahmad Sarir, says the inclusion of the Maldives in Saudi Arabia's Makkah Route initiative marks a significant milestone in strengthening diplomatic relations between Malé and Riyadh. He hailed the decision as a testament to the robust and deepening bilateral ties between the two nations. Structured to streamline Hajj pilgrims' process, the initiative is typically extended only to nations that send at least 20,000 pilgrims annually. The Maldives, however, secured entry under a special arrangement bypassing the usual volume criteria. Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Saeed described this inclusion as a significant privilege from Saudi Arabia granted without a formal agreement. In Jeddah, where he welcomed the first group of Maldivian pilgrims benefiting from the program, Ambassador Sarir underscored the significance of the new arrangement. The initiative, he said, has provided substantial improvement in accessibility to Maldivian pilgrims, who express exceptional satisfaction with the quality of services and logistical support offered. Ambassador Sarir noted that the Makkah Route initiative is reserved for nations maintaining exceptionally strong diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia. The swift implementation of the program in the Maldives, he argued, reflects the depth of the bilateral relationship. According to Ambassador Sarir, Saudi immigration officials had previously indicated that participation in the initiative is typically extended only to nations with well-established logistical frameworks. He recalled discussions earlier this year in which Maldivian officials presented their consistently well-managed pilgrim travel infrastructure, prompting special consideration for inclusion. Part of Saudi Arabia's broader Vision 2030 strategy, the Makkah Route initiative seeks to modernize public services while contributing to economic diversification. Among its principal advantages is the completion of Saudi immigration procedures within the Maldives, eliminating lengthy processing times upon arrival in Jeddah and streamlining travel logistics. This year, 1,000 Maldivians will undertake the pilgrimage, with the first flight departing Mali on Monday afternoon, carrying 234 passengers under the newly established arrangements. India's High Commissioner to the Maldives, G. Balasubramanian, says the Maldives and India share a long-standing relationship built on mutual trust and confidence. In an exclusive interview with PSM News, describing bilateral ties as a deep-rooted and enduring partnership, he underscored the strength of diplomatic and economic cooperation between the two nations. One of India's most significant contributions to the Maldives' development, according to the High Commissioner, is the Greater Malé Connectivity Project, a key initiative aimed at enhancing regional infrastructure. Within this project, the Thili Malé Bridge, set to link Malé with Tilafushi, stands out as a major undertaking, said High Commissioner Balasubramanian. He expressed confidence in the project's timeline, reaffirming India's role in advancing economic growth through large-scale infrastructure investments. The High Commissioner also reflected on President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu's visit to India last year, calling it historic. The high-level diplomatic engagement, he noted, laid the groundwork for closer bilateral cooperation, with ongoing efforts to translate the vision document signed between President Muizzu and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi into actionable policies. These agreements, he added, are designed to deepen strategic ties and drive joint initiatives forward. Beyond infrastructure, India continues to invest in human capital development across the Maldives. The High Commissioner pointed to 300 scholarships being offered to Maldivian students, supporting skill enhancement and educational opportunities in diverse sectors. This initiative, he said, underscores India's broader commitment to fostering growth through knowledge and expertise. As both nations look ahead, High Commissioner Balasubramanian expressed confidence that Maldives-India relations will continue to strengthen, with collaboration expanding across diplomatic, economic, and educational spheres. The Minister of Social and Family Development, Dr. Aishat Shiham, reveals that government officials have visited and gathered information from over 14,000 households under its Halukina program thus far. The initiative, launched in May last year, involves visiting residents across all islands in the Maldives to assess their well-being. Is the lack of employment opportunities available to people in accessing employment opportunities. The program has also shed light. She added that the government has launched a training program for people entrusted with the care of such persons. The Halukihine program initially began in Hurumale, in alignment with President Dr. Muhammad Moizu's vision of fostering a compassionate society. The program aims to strengthen relationships and build trust between the government and the citizens. The initiative involves visiting residents across all islands in the Maldives to assess their well-being, identify individuals in need, and provide necessary services. The Ministry of Social and Family Development is working closely with public service institutions, relevant agencies, atoll councils, local island councils, and women's development to conduct the program. The social assistance from the state. Pavel Sechal reckons the Czech company he works for could easily generate more businesses for its missile and drone engines to double its workforce if only he could find the staff.
His dilemma is shared by many defense companies in Europe, where governments are ramping up spending on ammunition, tanks, and other arms in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's warning that they should not rely so much on Washington. Sechel is Vice President of Operations at PBS Group, whose production facility in Velká Bystrica, a 2-hour drive from Prague, employs 800 people. He is looking for more. PBS Group has taken a step beyond cooperation with schools and universities. Milan Machalan, chief executive of the Velká Bystrica production facility, said they have also started their own training school to generate employees. Auto industry struggles have also helped producers in the defense industry to recruit people. David Rajchanch, a former employee in the automotive industry, has transitioned to the defense sector due to dissatisfaction with the co-sensitive development and constant changes in his previous field. While the EU's 800 billion euro or $896 billion US defense spending push is expected to create hundreds of thousands of jobs over the next decade, the specially trained AI engineers, data scientists, welders, and mechanics required are in short supply. Management consultant firm Kearney stated in a recent report that a boost in defense spending to 3% of GDP from the current NATO target of 2% would require as many as 760,000 new skilled workers in Europe. Reuters spoke to more than a dozen companies, recruiters, and workers who said that along with hiking wages and benefits, arms makers are poaching from other sectors and seeking potential recruits among local pupils and students. Since Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, 78% of EU military procurement spending has gone outside the bloc, with the US alone securing 63%, European Commission data show, partly because Europe's defense sector is fragmented between states.
Ukraine's ecology minister says the country is overhauling its mineral sector, which has been pounded by 3 years of war, in the hope of unlocking potential and attracting billions of dollars of investment from a minerals deal with the U.S. Minister Svetlana Rinchuk told Reuters in an interview that Ukraine hoped the fund would significantly increase the mineral industry's potential, noting extraction was a capital-intensive and long-term task. Rinchuk estimated that the sector had suffered losses of about 70 trillion hryvnias, $1.7 trillion, due to the occupation of Ukrainian territory and combat action along a more than 1,000 kilometers, 621 miles, front line. The country has deposits of 22 22 of 34 minerals deemed as critical by the European Union for industries such as defense, high-tech appliances and green energy, as well as ferroalloy, precious and non-ferrous metals used in construction and some rare earth elements. However, much of the sector is underdeveloped, weighed down by Soviet-era bureaucracy and lack of investment. The government was working to reveal of them could be dormant. After months of fraught negotiations, Kiev and the United States agreed a minerals deal in April that was heavily promoted by US President Donald Trump. It created a fund which became active on May 23rd that will receive money from new mining licenses in Ukraine and invest in minerals projects. China's foreign ministry says the Chinese owner of Darwin Port obtained the lease through the market and their legitimate rights and interests should be fully protected. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning was responding to a question about the port during a regular news conference. China's ambassador to Canberra criticized on Sunday, May 25, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's election pledge last month to return the strategically located northern port to domestic ownership. The Northern Territory government sold the port's 99-year lease to Landbridge for $506 million in 2015, a move criticized by the U.S. president at the time, Barack Obama. Around 2,000 U.S. Marines conduct exercises for 6 months of the year in the northern city of Darwin, where the U.S. and Australia are expanding air bases to host U.S. bombers. The Australian newspaper reported that Cerberus Capital Management, founded by billionaire investor Stefan Feinberg, who was appointed U.S. Deputy Secretary of Defense in March, was preparing a formal proposal to buy the port. Hawaii's Gabriella Bryan defends her Western Australia Margaret River Pro title, showcasing her powerful forehand surfing to beat reigning world champion Caitlin Simmers and maintain her rankings lead over her Californian rival.
South African Jordy Smith won the men's event, stop 7 on the World Tour, by taking out California's Griffin Colapinto. The 37-year-old leads the World Championship rankings 18 years after making his tour debut. While conditions had slowed after big perfect surf earlier in the competition period, Simmers and Bryan started their final swiftly. Simmers, 19, notched up a solid 7.17 out of 10, only to see Bryan use her trademark power on a series of searing turns for a near-perfect 9.5. Both surfers followed up their initial keeper scores with some mid-range numbers before Bryan notched up another solid wave for a 7.83 and 17.33 total inside the first 10 minutes of the final. Smith, who joined the World Tour in 2008 and is the oldest competitor on tour, also got off to a strong start, picking up an excellent 8.5 on his first wave after Colapinto garnered a modest 4.83. With the ocean going quiet and needing a solid score, Colapinto waited in vain for another opportunity that never came, handling Smith his second win this year.
It feels incredible. I think it's just a testament to every day keep showing up, trusting what you're doing, and not only for myself, I can't just say that I've been doing all the work. I've got such a great team of people behind me, from Garth to Nick, my wife, my family. Yeah, they're all a part of this, so there's a lot of dedication every day that goes on, and I'm sure all the surfers, live a similar path, but for me this year it's just really been about have fun and enjoy this, because it's not forever.
Colapinto finished third in the world in 2023 and 2024 but had a shocking start to this year, languishing near the bottom of the rankings before the start of the three-leg Australian tour. The 26-year-old from San Clemente had two of the most memorable waves of the event, a near-impossible tube in an early round and the only perfect 10-point ride in a blockbuster quarterfinal against Italy's Leo Fioravanti, trailing and needing a 9.4 landing as the shadow reef loomed. The tour next heads to Colapinto's home break, the 2028 Los Angeles Olympic surfing venue of Lower Trussels. The top 5 men and women after the 11-stop tour will then compete for the world title in a one-day winner-takes-all finals day in Fiji.
Until the last half-decade, the majestic lesser flamingo had 4 African breeding sites: a salt pan in Botswana and Namibia, a soda lake in Tanzania, and an artificial dam outside South Africa's historic diamond mining town of Kimberley. Now it has only 3. Years of raw sewage spilling into Camphors Dam, the only South African water body where lesser flamingos congregated in large enough numbers to breed, have rendered the waters so toxic that the distinctive pink, long-necked birds have led to conservationists and a court case seen International Union for Conservation of Nature (IUCN). There are 2 to 3 million left, 4/5 of them spread across Africa, the rest in a smaller area of South Asia. But they are in steep decline, and poisoning one of their last few breeding sites has worsened their plight dramatically. Esther van der Westhuizen-Coetzee, wetland specialist for local diamond miner Ekapa Group, told Reuters that flamingos began breeding at Camphors Dam in 2006. In 2020, there were 71,000 on the dam, with up to 5,000 new chicks each season.
The big problem for the species is they will not be able to breed at Camphors Dam until the levels of the water returns to normal conditions for them to breed. So we will be continuing to miss out on breeding seasons that deliver between 2,000 and 5,000 chicks in a breeding season until that can be sorted out.
Sewage had become a problem across the country, where few sewage works are in working order. Footage the Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa took in 2020 shows Camphors Dam turned flamboyant pink with flamingos. When Reuters visited this month, there were none. A closer look at the water revealed a green sludge that bubbled and stank of human waste.
Just gradually, the birds, there were fewer and fewer. And that was it. I mean, eventually they just all disappeared. They are going to pans in the area, but they're not settling. They're there for a short time, and then they fly off again.
Municipality manager Thapelo Matlala told Reuters thieves had vandalized the sewage plant and stolen equipment, grinding it to a halt. Lesser flamingos mostly eat spirulina, a blue-green algae, slurping it through a filter in their beaks. This limits them to alkaline water bodies, mostly in East Africa's Rift Valley. They're fussier about where they breed, with just 3 remaining sites in Africa and 3 in India. Tanya Anderson, a conservation biologist specializing in flamingos, told Reuters the IUCN was about to up their threat level to vulnerable, meaning at high risk of extinction in the wild, owing largely to their shrinking habitats of salty estuaries or soda lakes shallow enough for them to wade through. Globally, water ecosystems are fast deteriorating because of sewage. A 2021 study in biological conservation found it threatens aquatic ecosystems across a vast area of the planet. And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.
At its